everyone, it's Chris from Solstice as well as Excel. You can find us on both websites, X, Instagram, as well as Discord. You DM me on either on X or Instagram. Remember to check out both websites. We are here for educational use, for talking about the overall market in the coming week, what to expect. And we're not a broker-dealer. Past performance doesn't give us any indication of our future results. Use at your own risk. Remember that. Let's go to the first slide that I have up here. And what I did, I put the small cap, the micro E-mini Russell 2000, which is IWM. The value is IWN and the growth is IWF. But I wanted to show that in Russell 2000, the sectors are rotating. In the prior year, you can see this previous high that happened in December. We came back down to the bottom, and eventually we rallied back up very sharply on the weekly charts. You can see it, and we can. I mean, on the daily charts, I shouldn't say the weekly. This is, if I consider these 5 days, this is a very sharp reversal from this bottom. You got two big candles. Doing more than one average true range. The average true range on the Russell is about 38 points. You can split it in half, divide it by two. That would be around 19 points on either side from the midpoint. So we were doing almost like 2.5. You can see here 95 points, and you can see the Russell was moving very sharply in the last 2 days. Then on Wednesday, it consolidated. Thursday, it rallied very sharply, tested that double bottom, broke out from the prior year high and continued higher. But on Friday, after that push up, we had a small little sell off. But I am paying attention to this previous high at 2,605 and the prior consolidation where you had, I consider these are three tops. Coming back to this area and bouncing back is sufficient. But remember, we're going to trade what the charts offer us without any bias. Let's go to the next slide. And what I did, I put the Russell IWM. And what I wanted to talk about, since there is sector rotation, this is the daily chart. And I put the weekly up here to show you that weekly candle from those daily candles. You can see that breakout from the 250, 227. This is a very important area, and 77 cents, very important area for the Russell to hold in relationship to that large move up from the prior year's high, which is the 258.20. So in the Russell 2000, remember to trade that linear regression. We touched that linear regression uptrend channel. We looked above it and came in to close on it. Is there going to be continuation from those pivot point? These are called pivot point or signal alerts. I usually call them. Where you consolidate and you reverse back up. These are called support and resistances. Usually they will act as, you can see here when we're consolidating, we looked above, failed, came back up, failed, came back, tested it. And when we came back here, we tested this consolidation and broke up. We created that shoulder, that head, that shoulder, that inverted, and we broke up. But is this going to continue higher? We're going to pay attention to what the technicals offer us with no bias. And remember, trade the charts in front of you, no bias. Protect capital at all costs. That means, you are willing, let's say you put $100 in, you're willing to lose $5. That's your maximum. When you are wrong, that's the maximum loss you're going to lose, not end up at 90, not end up at 80 and pray that, everything's going to come back to normal. It's harder to come back from 80 going back to 100 because you had lost a little bit more larger capital. Remember, you don't want to stay wrong. When you end up staying wrong, you get liquidated and things will turn and you start doing bad trades. So act on the action and reaction on the charts. What I mean on setups, look for pattern, look for setups, don't question the move, and don't stay wrong and holding on to a loser, and don't turn a winner into a loser. The charts in this will give you the story. Don't listen to the news. If it's in the media or it's on the TV or it's on the box, it's already there on the charts. So don't worry about it. Money will eventually flow to you. So this is very important. You have to look at all different sectors. If you trade ETFs or you trade equities, you trade large cap, growth, tech, consumer products, staples, material, industrial, whatever they are. or if you trade commodities or futures, I trade the Nasdaq, I trade the S&P, I trade crude, and I do trade gold. So, and a little bit of Bitcoin. So and sometimes in the Forex, I trade the Aussie or the Japanese dollar. In crypto, I don't touch much. I know there's Ethereum, there's XRP and all that stuff. Or, I'm not part of that group, but I will trade Bitcoin if I have a good setup. So let's go to the next chart. Remember to check us out at solstice.axelatrai.com and give us your commentary and subscribe and let us know what we can do here to help you out in your trading goals for 2026. Here I put the SPY, which is the Fortune 500 company. I used the 3 months chart. You can see that consolidation here. We looked up, we missed it here. Well, I consider it, this is a touch. This is really a touch at the high. But we fell down, came back up, tested that area, looked above it, fell back in. We are in that linear regression uptrend channel. You can see it in that auto trend. These are what we call the pivot point. The longer the line, the more support you get. The shorter the line, the less support. We have looked above that linear regression channel. That was the Wednesday high. We fell down on Thursday, and on Friday we tested that open of it, but we rallied up to the high of it and broke out and continued higher. This was a nice chart, and even taking, the Wednesday's high for that last push up and coming back to close right in that area is very important on the chart. Do we fall back into this range, find that consolidation to be supportive in order to continue high, you get a little consolidation continue, or do we end up continuing higher? Remember, from the high to the slow, I know the machine grabs these. What you want to do is pay attention to the 5 day range. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Measure that distance in relationship to that consolidation here. Do we find support in this area to continue higher on the reversal? Let's take a look here. And I'll talk about the ETFs because a lot of people tell me, hey, you don't talk about electronically traded funds. I'm trading the commodity. It's the same setup. These are used for retirement accounts. Institution want you to participate in the commodity side of those sectors. The Nasdaq has 5 sectors, the S&P has 11 sectors. So this is why I'm putting those two up. And I wanted to show you that the Nasdaq has been lagging, but it may be changing trend. It depends what sectors are going to be moving. The NVDAs of the world and the Magnificent Seven, they're getting a lot of fluctuation, volatility in them. People are turning towards consumer products, towards biotechs, towards, small cap and other instruments that will move the market. And you can see on the last 5 days from here, this was the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, look above, fail on Thursday, but Friday did not take out the Wednesday candle. I am paying attention to this area because this has a lot of consolidation in this area because we looked above here when we failed, we came back up, double topped, came back in. We're creating higher highs here. And from this area, you can see we are still in lower lows from these two double tops. If I connect these dots, you draw a linear regression downtrend channel on it, you will see that I am still, I tested it. You can see it tested it by a hair and fell back in. I'm paying attention if there's going to be a shoulder here or there's going to be a breakout on Monday on that setup on the NASDAQ 100. So if I take a look at the XLK, just going to bring in a couple of them. You can see the XLK is in no man's land. It's been consolidation because of that chop in the tech sector and the Magnificent Seven. And if I do put the Magnificent Seven, I will show you how it looks like. This is in orange. This is the Magnificent Seven. You can see Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVDA. I've added in there Netflix myself in person because I do like the media stuff like Disney, Netflix, Warner Bros. So it kind of gives me a little different outlook on the overall Magnificent Seven, including Tesla, which is part of the tech sector. I don't consider Tesla just a car manufacturer. I look at it as a more of a technology company, and you can see that there's a lot of on the daily chart since we looked up. We failed here. We haven't been able to break up, but I am paying attention to that downtrend channel on it. We can draw a downtrend. I'm just going to show you how it will look like if I do break out or not. We are in that symmetrical triangle on the NASDAQ. So pay attention to that or the commodity side of that sector. in that QQQ or the XLK. Let's unlock it. Let's take a look at the semiconductor SMH. You can see the semiconductor here, such as TSM will report next week. What we want to pay attention to is TSM because it will kind of give us an overall view what the other instruments such as AMD, Dell, the other companies, Apple, and so on. But this is part of the semiconductor, and you can see in the last 5 days we looked above. We broke the Tuesday's high, but we closed right on it. So more or less, I am paying attention in case we do come back to the backside of this channel, or even that one where the linear regression uptrend channel where we looked below on Thursday. It looked like we're gonna fail. We closed above it, and on Friday, we tested halfway of this candle and we broke the prior Thursday's high that was off to the races back in the semiconductor. So I just want to do a couple of them. You can see how strong it moved. I'm not telling you to chase it, but I want you to understand there are sector rotation. If I take a look at the XLD, it is in a flag situation. You can see that move up, came back in, its consolidation. Now I consider this as a flag. If there's going to be support in this area and find a reversal back up, that would be great. I'm just kind of giving you an idea to look at the 11 sector, so you can see on the short term up, mid-term up, long-term up, weakness on pursuit of an uptrust in a down move. When it looked up, it failed to open, failed to close of it, and fell below. So these are the things you have to, look for setup patterns on a chart in order to help you out. You can look at Carnival, you can look at the tech sectors, you can look at the defensive sectors like Lockheed Martin, Lockheed Martin, LMT, Lockheed Martin, there it is. You can see that volatility, you can see it from the Monday, Tuesday, they looked up, brought it in. Wednesday, sharp decline because of what happened in Venezuela, capturing the prime minister, bringing him for custody in the United States in the court to put him in jail for the things he's done. I'm not going to go into the politics of it. You can see that sharp decline on Wednesday. Tuesday was an inside, Thursday was an inside candle, and on Friday, rip up and make a new high. So that's in Lockheed Martin. So you can look at the defensive crude, such as the uh, ExxonMobil, XOM, or Chevron, you can see that sharp volatility decline and the rally up. Does that mean there's volatility in it? Yeah. Is crude oil over the long term going to do well? Yes. But you have to pay attention to that small volatility not to get caught in it. And you want to be able to buy on momentum, not buying at an extreme, and you end up holding the bag. So remember not to be a chaser. Try to look for setups and try to trade what the charts offer you. So let's go to Bitcoin, micro BT. And what I wanted to do is show you here in micro Bitcoin. And I had called it in the last week's video. And I said, pay attention to that uptrend channel in case we get a rally up and a breakout. On Monday, we pushed up. Tuesday, we pushed up. We looked down, came back up. But Wednesday was a down day. Thursday was an inside close slightly above the Wednesday high. But on Friday, we looked above, tried to get above that box, which I said this is going to be a lot of supply up here until you break that supply, because a lot of people that shorted this area and shorting this area have positions here in case that 94,000, 95,000 you get a breakout and you come out of that box. Eventually you'll go up to the races to the backside of this consolidation. That's a pivot point. That's a pivot point or signal alert, and there's one up here. So this consolidation here would be the target eventually to the upside, but there is a little bit of lag in Bitcoin due to the ETFs out there and the leveraged out there. So they have not been able to take out this area. Until they do, they are in limbo land, because you can come back in and retrace back to the backside of this channel or the 61.8. Trade what the charts offer you. Don't be biased. And if you get a bounce back up, you can daily trade it. But remember to be not biased to one side. Let the chart gives you the story and the setups on the shorter time frame, whether you use a 5-minute, 15-minute, or an hourly chart for entries and exits. Remember, you got to use a technical analysis at the same time. Use a moving average, supply and demand, use an RSI, use a MACD. But these things, or CCI, stochastic, you want to know how to set them up correctly, because they are, most of the stuff out there is a lagging indicator. You don't want to be part of that lagging indicator. Let's now take a look at micro ES, which is the S&P 500. And what I wanted to show you is the prior month value area high here, point of control and value area low. I know we tested it here. We tested it a couple of times, the value high, but it has been acting as support. You can see this high here that was created in November on the 30th, and we had the 31, then we had the December move down, then back up. This area was a lot of consolidation. When we retested it, we broke up. We're creating higher highs. This does not mean that all things are good and dandy. You can be, you can look above and fail, or you can look up and continue. But what we want to do, use those moving averages to give you a better understanding of these sectors and levels. So what I want to do, show you the ES. I'm going to show you the micro NQ right now. Then I'm going to go use the moving averages, show you how to use the moving averages, then use a measured move on the platform. So micro NQ, you can see in the micro NQ, we were creating from that November highs, we were creating lower highs coming down, and this is lower highs from this one. I just kind of marked them like an LLH, LH, and high, and I marked the lows with an HL. This one's going to be higher high from the low, okay? So we can get a typo in here. We can type it in. We can put HHL because it's higher high from that prior low. So these things these, a lot of people use ABC patterns. I'm not that kind of a person. And this is, ABC. That would be the last one here, which is D. Well, I'm not going to put it in, so I'm just going to keep it there in case we get a breakout, because the Nasdaq now is trying to change the sentiment from being bearish to bullish. Is those sectors and couple of the semiconductors and couple of the banking sectors are going to start moving the Nasdaq up, and as well Bitcoin, part of the, the semiconductor, the technology, the servers and stuff, because the Nasdaq 100 or the Mag 7 represent 42% of the S&P, while it is heavily weighted on the Nasdaq 100, those 7 stocks. So what we want to do is make sure we, on the short term, we are up. On the midterm, we're up. On the long term, we are up. We are in an uptrend, and we're creating higher highs. And from the tops, we're creating high and higher. From the lows, we're creating higher highs from the lows. Okay, so this is very important. So we're going to go to an intraday. I'm going to go to a time frame. We're going to do an intraday. We can use a 10 or 15 days. I don't want to go too far out. I just want to show you this. Or we can use a 20-day. Let's go to a 20. So you can see this consolidation here before the holiday, before Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving, the New Year and stuff. So we can use a 4-hour chart. I'm going to show on the overnight, it's going to show you a gray area in the European Asian markets. And you can see I usually put these levels up, and when I'm explaining things on the Discord in our group, you can join, you can participate in it, but you have to check the website to see how you can participate in our group. So you can see that highs here, we created it. That was the Wednesday high. We were not able to take it out. Do we create a right shoulder here to continue higher, or do we get a breakout? Because when we fell down here, we tested the Thursday's almost low, but we tested the close, then the open of that candle and rallied back up and continued up, but we're not able to take the Wednesday. So this is a lot of consolidation in this area. Do we stay above it or we don't? So you can see the machine grab the high, which is here on Wednesday, and grab the Friday's high. I usually use the Sundays to Friday highs and lows, and I do the measure move on the chart. So I'll grab this high here to this low here. I want to leave that Fibonacci there because you can see where the consolidation was in this area. The breakup couldn't make it, fell back down to this area, bounced back up sharply. We fell down from Wednesday to Thursday. Then on Friday we rallied up but did not finish this area. So if you want, you can edit the property. I'll show you the extensions to the downside, -100, plus 100. So you can set it up on you. I usually do that on the daily for colors, but on the weekly chart, I set it up for the measured move for the extensions to the upside or downside, and I use Cyan color. You can use any color you want, but at least it'll give you an idea what to look for the measured moves to the extensions to the upside or the downside on these moves usually happening on either side. And I can extend it to the back. You can see here it says 25. We can go to 25.1, but we really don't need, we can go back a little bit, but instead of 1, I can go back to the 12.01. At least you'll have a better idea where that consolidate. You can see where that big consolidation at the 50 is in relationship to the breakdown, coming back, testing, rallying up, failing it, coming back to it, failing it, coming back up. So this area is very important to hold in order to continue on the NASDAQ 100. You can do that at the same time with the QQQ, the SPY, the stocks, Apple, Amazon, Costco, Walmart, Target. It doesn't matter what you're trading, but I want you to understand that there are things, uranium and so on. So I'm going to do last micro ES and show you how to do this at the same time. You can see that this high was broken out, breakout, breakout, and we looked above on Friday, but we did not close above the Wednesday's high of that candle. And in order to continue, you can use the SPY to measure. You can go from up here down to the Sunday, extend it, edit the property one more time. We do this, we go to 25, and we can put 12 here. So at least we have a reference point, and you can change the color. Sorry, I did not change the color. We can change the color to blue. So it gives you an overall view where the micro S&P 500 supposed to. This is a very important area, that 69.94, and at the same time around the 68 to 72 area is supposed to hold. In case we do hold, that would be great. In case we come in and found a bounce and go and continue higher, or do we break out and continue higher on the overnight on Sunday? So I hope this video was very helpful. I did not mention uranium. I did not mention ONDS. I did not mention Palantir. Remember, or Palantir is in the bad area. Meta is in a bad area. But what I want to do, just PLTR, show you that it is in consolidation. It is in a chop. That's a double top failure. We are in that range. So there's no really great setup in Meta. Here we go. I'll show you the same thing. I don't want you to get caught on the wrong side, or, because part of those instrument or RCL, you can see it starting to move up. If you look at uranium, I don't want to do this in the video. You can ask us how. You can come in, check us out, how we trade commodities, equities, and so on. But at least you have a better idea. Or iron, IREN. I mean, I'm kind of showing you different things so that way you don't end up getting caught. So when you pick a sector or you pick a stock, make sure you do your homework on it the week before, or before you're coming in on Monday through Friday trying to trade an instrument without knowing what you're doing. And if there's momentum in one, you end up buying it at a right position, and you're rallying up or shorting the position. That would be good for you. So I hope this video once again was helpful. If you have any questions, check us out at solstice8.axel, ATRAI.com, because the solsticeatr.com is the server. We're working on it. We haven't adjusted it yet, so we're using the solstice.axel, ATRAI.com, or for institution, it's for axelai.com, ATRAI.com. So take care.